Jaya Girivara Dari Yasodha Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasodha Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Atira Vanachari Muna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivardhari Yasodha Nandana Braja Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitya Gaura Hari Bol. All glories to somebody good. All glories to somebody good. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga Srila Prabhupada ki. Prabhu, you can share the screen of Lilamrita and you can read, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. So, do you want me to read, Prabhu?
Yeah. Read, please.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Reading from Prabhupada's Lilamrita, chapter 30, London, a dream fulfilled. At one end of the estate lived a bricklayer and his wife in a small, neglected Georgian house. Hired by John to build a recording studio on the property, the bricklayer had only recently moved to Tittenhurst. A tough, burly man, he never spoke to the devotees until one day he asked several of them if they believed in ghosts. Oh, yes, Kulashekhara said. Prabhupada says there are ghosts. I don't believe, the bricklayer said. My wife is having dreams, but I do not believe in ghosts. The bricklayer's wife revealed that both she and her husband had been hearing something at the night. Last night, they had gone running to John Lennon's house, terrified, complaining of sounds, chains rattling, boot heels pounding, and the noise of something like a body being dragged across the floor. The bricklayer had seen his wife violently shaken by the shoulders, although no one else was there. When the devotees told Prabhupada, he said, "Tell John Lennon that if he wants, we can get rid of these ghosts." Mukunda relayed the message, but John had already invited his friend, a white witch, to come and exorcise the ghost. The Warlock visited the bricklayer's cottage, and a few devotees tagged along. Over the fireplace in the main room, they found a carving of a person with a ghost coming out of his forehead, and on the opposite wall, mahogany runes. These are ancient witch runes, the warlock said, shaking his head. I can't do anything here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you very much. You can share the screen of the Srimad Bhagavatam also, please, Prabhu. Today we are reading from
Okay, Prabhu. Yeah.
5 and 6 because Nandabaja Prabhu has requested to read both the verses.
Five and six.
Yeah, 5 and 6.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
Prabhu. Yeah, I'm doing it. Yes.
Yeah, because yesterday they are not covered. Verse 5. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narjaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tado Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloge Bhaktrabhavati Naistagi Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nandagopa Kumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha Namo Pangajanaಭಾಯ Namo Pangajamaline Namo Pangajanetraya Namaste Pangajangre Vasudeva Paraveda Vasudeva Paramaka Vasudeva Parayoga Vasudeva Parakriya Vasudeva Paranjanam Vasudeva Paratava Vasudeva Paradharmo Vasudeva Paragati. Hare Krishna to everyone, all the assembled devotees. Today we are reading from Canto 5, the creative impetus, chapter number 6, the activities of Lord Rishabhadev, verses 5 and 6. Kamo manyurmado lobha, shokamoha bhaya adayaha, karma bandhaschayan mulaha, svikriyat sukriyat ko nu tad buddham. Kamo manyurmado lobha, shokamoha bhaya adayaha, कर्मबन्धश्च यन्मूलः स्वीक्रियात् सुकुर्यात् को नो तद्बुधः कामो मन्युर्मदो लोभः शोकमोहभयादयः कर्मबन्धुश्च यन्मूलः स्वीक्रियात् सुकुर्नो तद्बुधः. And we want to read, please.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandot Pranam.
Dandot Pranam.
Kamo mannar madho lava, shoka moha bhaya adaya, karma bandhasya yan mulaha, shikuriyat kanu tatputaha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I am also trying.
Please, please.
Sorry. Kamo mannur mado lobha, loko moho bhayadaya, karma bandhasya janmulaha, shikuryat konu tadbuddha. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Please go ahead, Mother.
Kamo manyur madho shoko moha bhayadaya karma bandhascha yanmulaha shri kuryat konu tad buddha. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mata. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanva Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Please go ahead.
Kamo manyor madloba shoka moha bhaya adya karma bandhanascha yanmula sri kuryat konu tad buddha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Mataji, go ahead.
Kamo manayo madholobha shoka moha bhay adhaya karma bandhascha yanmula swikuryat konu tat buddha. Thank you,
Mother.
Prabhuji. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mata. Hare Krishna. Anybody wants to read the synonym and translation and purport, please?
May I, Prabhuji?
Yeah, please go ahead, Mata.
Kam, lust. Manyo, anger. Madha, pride. Lobha, greed. Sok, lamentation. Moh, illusion. Bhay, fear. Adhya, all these together. Karma bandha, bondage to fruitive activities. Cha, and Yat mulaha, the origin of which Kuryat would accept. Kah, who, nu, indeed. Tat, that mind. Buddha, if one is learned. Somebody can continue with translation.
Yeah, translation. Anybody can read translation and purport together?
The mind is the root cause of lust, anger, pride, greed, lamentation, illusion, and fear. Combined, this constitute bondage to creative activities that what learned man would put faith in the mind. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The mind is the original cause of material bonds. It is followed by many enemies such as anger, pride, greed, lamentation, illusion, and fear. The best way to control the mind is to engage it always in the Krishna consciousness. Savya mana Krishna pada Ravindro. Since the follower of the mind brings about material bondage, we should be very careful not to trust the mind. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. And we will go to number 6. Atam Akila Lokapala Lalamo Abhivilakshane Jadavat Avaduta Vesha Bhasha Charitahe Avalakshita Bhagavat Prabhavo Yoginam Samparaya Vidyam Anushikshayam Swakalevaram Jihasu Atmani Asam Vyavahitam Anarthantara Bhavena Anuvikshamana Uparatadam Nivritte Upararama Adevam Magila Loka Pala Lalamo Abhivilakshane Jadavat Avaduta Vesha Bhasha Charitair Avalakshita Bhagavat Prabhavo Yoginam Samparaya Vidyam Anushikshayam Swakalevaram Jihasur Atmani Atmanam Asam Vyavahitam Anarthantara Bhavena Anuvikshamana Uparata Anuvritter Upararama Adevam Agilaloga Palalalamu Abhivilakshane Jadavat Avaduta Vesha Bhasha Charitair Avalakshita Bhagavat Prabhavo Yoginam Samparaya Vidyam Anushikshayam Swakalevaram Jihasur Atmani Atmanam Asamyavihitam Anarthantara Bhavena Anuvikshamana Uparata Anuvritter Upararama. Hare Krishna. Anybody can read this? Hare Krishna.
Atoivam akila loka palalamo api vilakshayir jaravat adbhuta veshabhasha charita avilakshita bhagavat prabhavo yoginam samparaya viddhim anushikshayam shakya kalevaram jihasuratmani atmanam asambhayavitam anartha antara bhavena aviksha mana uparita anubhutin uparamama. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna
Anybody
Prabhu.
wants? Please go ahead.
Athoivam akilo lokapalo lalamopi Vikshanajarabodabodudvesha bhasho charitoir Avilakshita bhagavat prabhavo yoginam Samparaya vidhi anushiksayan Sakalevaram jihas suratmanya atmanam asama vyavahitam arthantara bhavena ikshamana Uparattanuvrittir upararama. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I read?
Please go ahead, Mata.
Athaivam akhila loka pala lalamopi bilakshanoir jaravat avadhuta vesha bhasha charitoir avilakshita भगवत्प्रभाव योगिनां सम्पराय विधिम् अनुशिक्षयन् स्वकलेवरं जिहासुरात्मनि आत्मानम् असमव्यवहितम् अनर्थान्तर भावेन अनवीक्षमान उपरतानुवृत्तिरुपररामो।
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, may I try please?
Yeah, please go ahead, Mother.
अथैवमखिलं लोकपालललोमपि विलक्षणै जडवत् अवधूतवेषभासाचरितै अभिलक्षित भगवत् प्रभो योगिनां सम्प्राया विधिम् अनुशिक्षयान् स्वा कलेवरं जिघासु आत्मनम् आशंवया वाहितम् अनर्थ अंतर भावेनावीक्षमान उपरतानुवृत्ति उपराम. Thank you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Can anybody read the synonyms and the translation, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can I please?
Please go ahead, Mother.
Atha, thereafter, evam, in this way, Akhila Lokapala Lalamaha, the head of all kings and monarchs of the universe. Api, although, Vilakshanaihi, various, Jadavat, as if stupid, Avadhuta Vesha Bhasha Charitaihi, by the dress, language, and characteristics of an Avadhuta. Avilakshita Bhagavat Prabhavaha, hiding the opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, keeping himself like an ordinary human being. Yoginam, of the yogis. Samparaya Vidhim, the method of giving up this material body. Anushikshayan, teaching. Swakalevaram, his own personal body, which is not at all material. Jihasuhu, desiring to give up like an ordinary human being. Atmani, unto Vasudeva, the original person. Atmanam, himself, Lord Rishabhadeva, being an Avesha avatar of Lord Vishnu. Asamvya Vahitam, without intervention by the illusory energy. Anartha Antara Bhavena, himself in the status of Vishnu. Anvikshamanaha, always seeing. Uparata Anuvrittihi, was acting as if giving up his material body. Upara Rama, seized his pastimes as the king of this planet.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mother.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Anybody can read translation and purport?
I will read translation, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Please.
Lord Rishabdev was the head of all kings and emperors within this universe, but assuming the dress and language of an Avaduta, he acted as if dull and materially bound. Consequently, no one could observe his divine opulence. He adopted this behavior just to teach yogis how to give up the body. Nonetheless, he maintained his original position as a plenary expansion of Lord Vasudeva. Krishna remaining always in the state, he gave up his pastime as Lord Rishabdev within the material world. If following in the footsteps of Lord Rishabdev, one can give up his subtle body, there is no chance that one will accept a material body again. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 4.9, one who knows the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving the body, takes his birth again in the material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. This is possible simply by keeping oneself an eternal servant of Supreme Lord. One must understand his constitutional position and the constitutional position of the Supreme Lord as well. Both have the same spiritual identity. Maintaining oneself as a servant of the Supreme Lord, one should avoid rebirth in this material world. If one keeps himself spiritually fit and thinks of himself as an eternal servant of the Supreme Lord, he will be successful at the time he has to give up his material body. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते वेदव्यासप्रिय स्वामिनिति नामने नमो ओम विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Welcome once again to all the devotees. Take the blessings of all the devotees so that I can deliver something which is meaningful about these two verses. Reading from text 5 and text 6. Text 5. Kamo manyurmado lobho shoka moha bhayadayah karma bandhuscha yanbulaha svikrurya kuno tadbuddha. Text number 6. Adayo magla lokapala lalamu abhivilakshane jadavat avadoda vesha bhasha charite avilakshida bhagavat prabhavo yoginam samparaya vidyam अनुशिक्षयाम सकलेवरम जिहासुर आत्मनम आत्मनम असम व्यवहितम अनर्थांतर भावेन अनुवीक्षमान उपरदा अनुवृत्तेर उपरराम. Hare Krishna. The first verse says about the mind control, and the second verse says about the how to give up your material body. Okay. The activities of Lord Rishabhadev. In the last chapter, we have seen the teachings of Lord Rishabhadev to his 100 sons. And out of his teachings, there are following important messages we can conclude. One is he has taught about the path of self-realization, and he has taught about serving the Mahatmas, and he taught about avoidance of the company of non-devotees, and he taught about avoidance of fruitive activities. These are the 4 important factors arise in the last chapter. So in this connection also we have studied there are 2 important verses in the last chapter. One is this Hamsastriya Maitunam Bhavayedam Tayomrito Ato Tayomrito Kride Grandim Ahuha Ado Graha Ksheta Sudabhavita Janasya Moho Ham Mameti. The attraction between the male and female is the basic existence of the material world. One becomes attached to this body, home, wealth, wife, children, and thinks in terms of I, me, and mine. That's the meaning of this verse. And secondly, he thought about Guru na sasya, na jano na sasya, pita na sasya, na devam na sasya, pita na sasya, na janani na sasya, devam na sasya, na pati na sasya, na moche samapete murti. No one can occupy the position of a spiritual master, own relative, father, mother, worshipable demigods, and wife if they cannot deliver their subject from the cycle of repeated. These are 2 important verses that we have learned from the last chapter. Now, after this, Rishabhadev wanted to control the mind. Control the mind. How to control the mind? Because Arjuna says in Bhagavad Gita, Chanchalam hi manak Krishna, pramadi balavadradam, tasyaham grahanamahi, vayoriva chaduskaram. You can control the wind, but you cannot control the mind. He is asking Krishna how to control the mind. Krishna says very simple. Abhyasa yogena yuktena vairagena grihyade. By practice, constant practice, and as well as by detachment, you can control your mind. The Rishabhadev also teaches the same thing. The mind is the cause. What learned? The mind is the cause of bondage and liberation. Maneyeva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshaya. Mind is the cause of bondage. Mind is the cause of liberation. If the mind is not tamed, it will go haywire and we will be doomed. And it says that what learned man would put faith in the mind. Nobody will put a faith on the mind because mind is not our control. It cannot take you anywhere. It can take you anywhere, and the whole life will be spoiled if you follow the mind. If you don't use your intelligence, if you follow the mind, the whole life will be spoiled. Sramayevehe kevalam. Because if you don't put the mind in a place, especially in the spiritual activities, especially in the devotional service to the Lord, if you cannot control your mind, it has no use. It has no use at all. It is just like another pious activities, which will not take you anywhere. So that's why Lord Rishabha says, control the mind. Mind is the cause of all shad repose. Lust, anger, envy, pride, greed, illusion, all these 6 repose are the cause for mind. So unless mind is properly controlled, it's very difficult to control other activities. Even the you cannot control your activities. You control your daily activities. You cannot control your physical activities. You cannot control your spiritual activities. So mind is so subtle, but it plays very major role in your day-to-day activities. So now this chapter, we'll see how Lord practically demonstrates what he has taught to his sons. In the previous chapter, he was teaching the 100 sons. Now he is practically showing how to live by the example. So in Bhagavad Gita it says in the Yad Acharati Sreshta Tadat Evadarojana Sayat Paramanam Kurude Roga Tada Anuvartade. So whatever actions the great persons performs, common men will follow. And whatever standard he sets by his exemplary act, the whole world will pursue. No doubt about it. If your act is very piously, if you act very intelligently, the whole world will follow you. Not otherwise. Lord Chaitanya teaches that in this Chaitanya Charitamrita that one who should behave properly before begins the teaching. One who teaches in that way, he becomes an acharya. So one who teaches and properly, as per the Shastra, he behaves, he becomes an acharya. He becomes an example for others. So others will follow his activities. And if you don't follow the Parampara system, if you don't follow the Vedic system, if you don't follow the Brahminical culture, if you don't follow the Vaishnava culture, the others will not follow. You should become an example for others to follow your activities and your behavior, etc. That for that you need to control your mind. You must control your mind. Otherwise, your activities will not be followed. Activities will go haywire. Here, there are so many examples I have been given. See, in this verse, asam vyavahitam, without intervention by the illusory energy. Lord Shabbadev is not connected with the illusory energy. Though he is the plenary expansion, he has appeared in the form of a human being. He is never affected by the illusory energy. So his mind is so controlled. He is showing the world how to control the mind. So anartha antara bhavena, himself in the status of a Vishnu, anuvikshamanaha, always seeing, uparada anuvritte, who was acting as if giving up his material body. He has no importance to his material body at all. He has not given any importance to his material body. All the subtle body and gross body, etc., etc., whatever. See, in this verse, it's mentioned about the word avaduta. Who is an avaduta? Avaduta, who is a person who is transcendently, who was above the worldly attachment and discard worldly ties. That's what happening to Rishabhadev. He is an Avaduta. He has renounced all worldly attachments. There's also another mention of one more Avaduta in Srimad Bhagavatam in the 11th canto, if I am correct, and where it's Avaduta teaches King Yadu about the significance of 24 gurus he came across in his life. So, anybody remembers that? 24 gurus, King Avaduta teaches King Yadu. I think so, maybe in 11th canto. And that is sky, water, mountain, all these examples he is giving. So, he is also an Avaduta. Here, Lord Rishabhadev also acting as an Avaduta. Avaduta. He's an Avaduta means he has renounced all the worldly ties. But he is still in the world, but he does not have any connection in the world. Yes. He is transcendently elevated. And here Lord teaches how to give up the material body and how not to get the material body again. Not only that, see how to give up the material body. And another thing, how not to get the material body again. That is to avoid repeated birth and death. We may wonder why I have given this body. Am I benefited by this body? Or it is a body which gives me a lot of troubles. It's an impediment for us. To a certain extent, we can say that the body is beneficial. To get a human body is beneficial. Because only in the human form of life, we can transcend the all modes of material nature. On the other hand, the body gives you all trouble, especially the subtle body. Mind gives you all trouble. The mind is, you cannot control the mind. It gives all troubles. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha dosha anudarsana. So this body gives you trouble also. Therefore, how to give up the material body and not to get material body again. So what should we do? So we have to spiritualize ourselves. How to avoid this material body? Because we have to spiritualize ourselves. To a certain extent, we may say this human body is beneficial because only this human body of life, we can have the activities of spiritual activities and transcend the material world. And Lord teaches not to waste this form of life by engaging in the fruitive activities. Rishabhadev teaches not to engage in ourselves and the fruitive activities. Having given this material body, do you have any justice or to avoid this type of body again? Yes, you can do that. Antakale chamame was paran mukta kalevar eprayadi sarmat bhavam yadina atra samsaya. That's one thing. Another thing. Yam vismaran bhavam yadanti antakalevaram yachanti antakalevaram. That is whatever the state of nature, what is the state you are at the end of your life. Remember, you will attain that nature. Another, tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanasmara udyaja. Always think of me. By thinking of me, you will attain me. So these are given in the Bhagavad Gita. These are examples how to attain a spiritual body, how to attain a spiritual body and to give up your material body. And Rishabhadev also wanted to teach the yogis, especially the mystic yogis. Mystic yogis have some mystic yogis no faith in devotional activities. To relinquish the gross and subtle body. How to relinquish the gross body and subtle body. The gross body consists of Bhumir, Abho, Nalo, Vayu, Kham, etc., all the 5 elements. And the subtle body consists of mind, false ego, and intelligence. How to relinquish the subtle body? How to relinquish the subtle body? Subtle body is very, very, very difficult process to relinquish the subtle body, even for the yogis. Yogis may be succeed in exiting their physical body, but not their subtle body. Prabhupada says that they are very expert in extinguishing their material body, because by various mystic process, they will control their prana, that is life air in the body, and come to the center point of the spine and take that prana into their head, and from there they release their physical body. But they cannot release their subtle body. Subtle body will accompany them. So here Lord Rishupati says how to quit your subtle body. That's more important. It is not that releasing the subtle body is a separate entity, but rather about dissolving the ego and identifying the higher interest. Relinquishing the subtle body is a process of self-realization and liberation from the cycle of birth and death. So, three aspects of subtle body is mind. Always think of Krishna in mind. So, first is mind. So, that's why Prabhupada says that Savayamana Krishna Padara Vindyo Jamse Vaikuntham Gunarna Varnane Karo Mandira Marjanadisu Sudim Chaka Chuda Satkada Udayute. Ambarish Maharaj says that. Ambarish Maharaj's characteristics. Savayamana Krishna Padara Vindyo. Always think of Krishna in your mind 24/7. Always think. That's the way you can control your mind. And second thing, intelligent. Work intelligently for the purpose of Krishna, for the service of Krishna, for the pleasure of Krishna. That's mind, intelligent. And ego. Avoid the concept of I, me, myself. I, me, mine, and myself. Avoid the concept of I, me, and myself. Always think that we are the eternal servant. We are only infinitesimal soul. We are the eternal servant of the Lord. By this process, we can dissolve our subtle body. By this process, we can always dissolve subtle body. And if you educate and transfer these activities of the subtle body, then at the time of Antakale Chamameva, we can give up the subtle body. Give up the material body. But there are some yogis. And Srimad Bhagavatam says that Etavan Sankhya Yogabhyam Swadharma Parinishtayan Jiva Labo Paropumsan Ante Narayana Smriti. The highest perfection is achieved. Highest perfection is achieved by controlling the mind. Highest perfection is achieved by the knowledge of matter and spirit. You can distinguish which is matter, which is spirit, by practice of mystic yoga, or by perfect discharge of occupational duty, or is to remember the Narayana Godhead at the end of it. Jivan Labo Paropumsa Ante Narayana Smriti. So this way you can control your activities, control your mind, and extinguish your physical body, extinguish your subtle body. Highest perfection is achieved by the knowledge of matter and spirit, and by practice of mystic yoga, or by perfect discharge of devotional occupational duty, either by mystic yoga or by discharge or complete discharge of occupational duty, and always to remember the Godhead at the end of your life. That's a summary of the mind control, body control, and both gross and subtle body. See, we have already seen chapter 6 of Bhagavad Gita deals with the mind control and mystic yoga system. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when having renounced all material desires and sense gratification and fruitive activities. In the 6th chapter, it says, Yukta Ahara Viharasya, Yukta Chedas Karmasu, Yukta Swapna Abhogasya, Yogam Bhavati Dukkahe. One who has controlled eating, sleeping, recreation can always mitigate the three modes of material nature. So, Lord is giving all the solution, how to control your mind, how to control your. This is the best way to control your mind. Yuktahara viharasya. And you become a yogi, always controlling all these activities, controlling your mind. You become a perfect yogi. Perfect yogi means perfect in the devotional service of the Lord. Not perfect yogi means you are to keep yourself aloof from others. No. You have to be in the association of the devotees. And keeping in the association of the devotees, you become a yogi. Always chanting of the holy name, always remembering of the Krishna, you become a perfect yogi. Yukta ahara viharasya, yukta cheta karmasu, yukta bhoga abodh, yukta swapna abodhasya, yogam bhavati dukkhahe. And at the end of the chapter 6, chapter Lord says, yoginam api sarvesham madgada antaratmanaha saddavan bhajate yomam tamay yukta samomataha. Of all the yogis, one who is always aware of me, always thinking of me, and doing devotional service to me is the perfect, and he is united in me in yoga system. Lord is never said about the physical exercise is the only yoga system. This is the yoga system, bhakti yoga. This is the bhakti yoga. That is what Prabhupada mentioned of the yogic practice, not the other mystic, and Rishabhadev also emphasized that. This is bhakti yoga. Not about the mystic yogas, and they wanted to transfer their body to the higher planetary system, or control their mind, or to enjoy the activities of the other planetary system. Not that. That is mystic yogis. Mystic yogis rarely achieve the devotional service. You can see the case of Vishwamitra, how he has failed in his life. Miserably he has failed in all his attempted. He is also called a yogi, but he is a mystic yogi. He has not. He is not in the grade of Narada Muni or other saints actually, because he wanted always to get the what do you call material opulences by his yoga system. We should never want a material opulences, because by yoga system you want the love of Godhead. We don't want any other thing. We want to have the yoga system ultimately give you the love of Godhead. This mystic yogi system ultimately give you some material opulences. That is temporary. That's temporary. See, both the subtle and material body are created by the modes of material nature, which are nothing but the expansion of the Supreme Lord. These are also expansion of the Supreme Lord, our body. Material existence comes to the limelight when the soul accepts the qualities of gross and subtle body as his own. This is my body, this is my hand, this is my head, everything. When you accept everything as mine, then we are under the ego system, and your mind is not under your control. However, the stage of illusion can be destroyed by, how can you control this one? You can control it, you can destroy it by your real knowledge. Real knowledge is nothing but the lotus feet of God. Just as fire, sometime it may appear as very dormant. It is covered by so many things, it may appear dormant. And sometimes it may be weak. And sometimes it may be brilliant according to the availability of the oil or fuel, whatever it may be. Similarly, the spirit soul enters the material body and accepts all bodily characters. The spirit soul have no other material qualities, but when he enters into a body, it accepts all the characters. Watch your thoughts, it will become your words. Watch your words, that will become your character. Watch your character, that will become your lifestyle. Watch your lifestyle, that will become your destiny. There's an English saying that. And Prabhupada says in the very purport, Janma karma cheme divyam yavam jo vedi tattvadah chakta deham punarjanmo naiti mameti. So Arjuna. This is the highest perfection. To give up the material body, not to accept another body, but to return back home, back to Godhead. It is the perfection which means that one existence it is the perfection that means that one becomes zero or one becomes void. But if positively want to annihilate the material body, we should accept a spiritual body. Otherwise, there can be no eternity of the soul. How to do that? Krishna explains that choosing a freedom means not only getting a material attachment, but developing a higher taste. Vishayavanivartande niraharyasya degne rajovasam rajo abhyasya param drishtva anivartande. Suppose, for example, a prisoner, if he is set free, but all he knows is only a prison. Right from the childhood, he knows only prison. Every time he commits something and comes into the jail or put into prison. And he knows only jail. He knows only the prison. But if all he knows only prison, he will find any other way to get back to the prison. Somehow or other, he will do something, some mischiefs, then he will get back to the prison. Because he's for him, this is the only world. Prison is the only world. But he needs to be taught about how to live outside the prison. How to live outside the prison. Like that, our mind and gross body and subtle body. How to live out of this prison. That is Krishna consciousness, all about. How to free ourselves from the material bondage and live eternally and blissfully. Therefore, we should follow the footsteps of Rishabhadev and his teachings, so that we can avoid this material body and not to accept the material body again. The real purpose of transcendental realization is the Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, is to arrive at the point of pure devotional service. Unless one understands the Supreme God to be the ultimate goal, it is value less simply speculative or performative yoga, as Prabhupada mentioned in this. In Ashtanga Yoga, you can see that the seventh stage of perfection is dhyana, Ashtanga Yoga. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana. That is the seventh stage in Ashtanga Yoga. But in Bhakti Yoga, it is the third stage. Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. That is dhyana. Therefore, whatever mystic perfection can be achieved by good birth, can all be achieved by simple, perfect devotional service. In this way, you can avoid the material body, you can avoid the spiritual body. Sorry, you can avoid the material body, you can avoid the subtle body, and you get spiritualized and get back home, back to God. So I will stop here. If anybody has any questions or comments, please. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandot Pranam.
Dandavut Pranam. It's a long time I heard your voice.
Thank you. I was away. Yeah. Thank you so much for explaining these texts right from the teachings of Rishabdev and how you made us understand the practice of those instructions. And Rishabdev started the sons were experienced their teachings into a practical aspect so that they understand what is being instructed. So this is the example of practice, a practice of those instructions as the main 4 points: the path of liberation, serving Mahatmas, and association and disassociation of the devotees. All those things, how he is explaining in this chapter, and the main focus is the control of mind, as you explained thoroughly. The effect of mind, if it is not controlled, what calamity can happen? And he has given so much examples and explaining that 24 gurus in our Uddhav Gita, chapter 7. In Uddhav Gita, there's 24 gurus. It's a long story, yeah. And that shows that whatever you're doing, there is a watchman. So be very careful what you are doing in your daily life. Don't think nobody is watching. Don't think like a crow. Crow thinks that nobody is watching, so he can do whatever he wants. But it is not that. All the gurus teaches us somebody is watching you. So in this way, when we think about how to control the mind, is only the solution is already given in the text 5. Savoi mano Krishna Padaravindra. That is the only solution. Whatever you do physically, mentally, it won't help you. But if you concentrate your mind on the lotus feet of the Lord, that will help you everything to control your mind. And that is the only solution. As you explained, 8 ladders of our Ashtanga Yoga, and it is such a very long process. It takes lives after life to continue that process. Srila Prabhupada told us, don't follow that. It is not easy process. It's so extraneous. But if you follow a simple process, which is the third of our 9 processes, Smaran, and that will help you to come down to a stage so that you control your mind and you can concentrate your mind on the lotus feet of the Lord. All other exercises of controlling the mind is temporary and it flickering, as Bhagavad Gita says, 634. Chanchalai. So it is always chanchal. You cannot catch hold of that mind. Only by controlling that mind at the lotus feet of Lord will help you to restrain from wandering here and there. And that is the solution, and that is the exercise Prabhupada has made for all of us, right from the morning to the evening. Just follow his 5 stages of services will help us to control the mind. Not very instantly, but slowly. Because slowly and steady wins the race. It is always a proverb. So that is the process, and we should concentrate our mind, especially when we do the chanting. That's why Prabhupada always advises if you can do it at one time, is the best. But if you can't do, you can break it into 2 or 3. But make sure it is done for the day. So those the examples and teaching from Srila Prabhupada help us to understand how to control the mind. Yeah, thank you so much, Hare Krishna, for explaining the.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much for your comments. Anyone else, please?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhandavat Pranam. Thank you very much.
Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much for bringing out by explaining explaining this shloka. You have very nicely pointed out the importance of controlling the mind, how mind can be controlled. Very elaborately you have explained. And in fact, in Bhagavad Gita 6.6, it is very clearly told that if mind is not controlled, it becomes its greatest enemy, because it's the closest thing. Controlled mind is the greatest friend, and uncontrolled mind is the greatest enemy. So one has to control the mind. And for controlling the mind, Lord Sri Krishna has told Arjuna that he didn't told that mind control is easy. He never told him. He told very clearly that abhyasana to kaunta vairagyena bhav. You have by practice and by renunciation, one can achieve control of mind. And the process of vairagya or the renunciation comes as given in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.7. Vasudevi bhakti yoga prayojito janayati ashu vairagya ganam cha vahitakum. That means vairagya comes when we attach our mind to the Lord. That is the only way to get detached from the material things. Because the mind has to be engaged. It is not that mind can free, as the yogis do. That's a very hard process. And we, the devotees, do not do that. We pursue the devotional service to control our mind. So when we give our mind completely to the Lord, it automatically brings detachment from the material things. So that is a way the devotees have to. And ultimately, that is the process we have to adopt. And for that, the mind remains fully controlled. And when we give our full attention to the Lord and thinks the Lord is the controller of everything, and for him everything enjoy. And you have also given the example of all the yogis, the bhakti yogi is the greatest. That means that is the way one has to understand as a devotee. We understand it very clearly that mind has to be controlled only by giving it to the Lord or rendering it for the service to the Lord. When we do that, and we do that, the mind gets automatically controlled. We have not to endeavor like the yogis. So thank you very much for bringing out that point. The control of mind is only through devotional service and surrender to the Lord. That is the only way the devotees do, and we have to do this. And by our constant practice, in this way, we can control our mind. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu, for your comments. Anyone else? I think that's it. I think so.
Yeah, it seems there is no commentators, so you can end.
Okay. Thank you. We'll stop here, Prabhu.
Yeah, Pancha Kalpataruvasya Kripa
Patitanam
Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Ananta-kodi Vaishnava.
Jai.
Vaikuntheswar
Prabhu ki
Jai.
Ananta-kodi Vaishnava.
Hari Hari.
Hari Hari.
All praise to the assembled
Hare
devotees.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.